Welcome to the Vegan Squad Pod, a podcast made to inspire vegans to become activists. Join us and our guests as we deep dive into effective forms of activism that we believe will change the world. Whether it's going to vigils, building a physique that shows people we don't need to eat animals, public speaking, or any other form of activism that you'll hear on this podcast, we want to empower you to find your voice and to speak up for justice. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy the episode.
Welcome back, everyone, to another phenomenal episode of the Vegan Squad Pod. And today we are joined by a friend and also vegan, I was going to say like revolutionist or like inspirationist or like, I'm trying to think of the right words, but game changer, if nothing else. We have Felicia Hanson on, and she is the owner and creator of Breakfree Candy. She's also run a vegan restaurant in prior years, and I think possibly still open for certain items, and we'll get into that. But I am just so grateful to have you on here because I feel like you have a product, and not just a product, but also your heart and your imagination and your kindness to others. But I think that what you have is going to change the world. I think it already has changed the world. It's created some options that were not available when I was younger. So, Fee, why don't you come on, say your name, maybe say a little bit about your companies and your backstory. And also, I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm also joined with Alex, aka your Vegan Mentor One. And so we're gonna go into your backstory and learn a little bit more about you, why you became into the person that you are today, and how your products are changing the world. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Felicia Hanson. I'm the owner of Breakfree Candy and Sweet Hazel & Co. And Breakfree Candy, we create better candy bars than your childhood classics. How's that?
Hell yeah. I love it.
I agree. And I think, like, to clarify for those that maybe aren't familiar with your brand, a lot of people, myself included, thought, well, once I go vegan, I'll never eat another Snickers bar. I'll never have another Milky Way, a payday, like those things that you might have or might not have, I guess, depending upon where you grew up, associated with like normal candy. Like even Halloween, I went vegan one year, and like then I was like, oh, there's a lot I need to cut out because I can't eat these again. And so you call like the Snickers is better than theirs, and I think it is better, personally. But yeah, like off the top of your head, like what are some of the ones that you've found a way to replicate and improve for vegans?
So we have better than Snickers, Milky Way, Twix, Nutrageous, Take 5, Fast Break, Turtle Bars. We have 10. I always put. I have one that's a Breakfree original. It's similar to a Fast Break with peanuts. Oh, we have the salted nut roll and
Tres Amigos,
Three Musketeer.
Oh, now I get it.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I listed them all.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so good. Everyone is so flavorful, and really, honestly, I've given it to pre-vegans, and everyone's like, "This is better than the animal-based one." So it really is like you're amazing at your craft, and yeah, I just feel like you put a lot of love into your food. Even coming to your restaurant in Salt Lake City was amazing, and everything was so delicious. So yeah, I'm excited to dive deeper into your journey and what got you there too.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. My biggest goal is for people to choose our candy bars over the traditional candy bars, whether they're vegan or not, because they're truly better. They're just better. You don't have to be vegan. You don't have to be anything. You can just have that candy bar because they're better. They truly satisfy.
I'm gonna push you a little bit because I think I could be wrong here, but I think you do want to see a vegan world, right?
Absolutely. Of course. Of course I want to see a vegan world.
And so with that attitude, people are more likely to give this a chance, I think.
Yes.
And
I feel like vegan has such a bad stigma And so people hear vegan and they're like, ew, I don't want that, right? And so my biggest goal is to be able to give people these candy bars and they're like, oh, that was vegan. And it kind of changes their mind a little bit, right? Because let's be honest, there are and there have been some very bad vegan products.
For sure.
There just have been. And so I feel like people, have tried them before and they're like, oh, that was so horrible. I'm never eating anything vegan again. I mean, but obviously they're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and apples and whatever, but that's not the point. What I'm saying is like my candy bars, I want them to be able to just have people just change their mind a little bit, right? Bring them back to be like, oh my gosh, this is vegan, and open the door to be able to maybe one step closer, right? Or, okay, it's not as bad as I remember, like that's like one of my big goals with the candy bar is to just make it a little bit easier and gentler for people.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people worry that they're going to miss out on certain foods when they go vegan, and you allow them to not feel like they're missing out on anything. They're gaining everything from being vegan. So, yeah, I appreciate that you're opening that door for others. I think you're doing a great job.
I've heard people say like, "Oh, I'm vegan, but I cheat and have a Snickers." But I have a vegan Snickers for you.
Yeah. So like I think we have an interesting angle that the bars can be marketed to, because like you said, the V word, it stands out to people. But if we're able to market them as egg-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, there's a lot of people that not even by choice avoid those foods, and then it allows these bars to get into more areas and really do more. But I guess this whole podcast, this is all based on activism. And so I think right now, maybe if somebody was new and hadn't heard of you before, they think this is just candy bars. But I want them to see what I see in you, Fee, and see how big you're able to change things, and that these candy bars are just a piece of that puzzle. So let's dive a little bit back into your backstory, because I don't think everyone listening to this just imagines himself one day waking up running a vegan candy bar business. Like, I don't think that's probably not what you thought you were just going to wake up and do even a decade ago. So like, what steps did you take to end up here? Where did your vegan journey begin? Were you making candy bars before you were vegan? Like, how did that happen? And how did we wind up here now?
My whole vegan story.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever parts of it that you would like to share.
So, crazy thing is, before I went vegan, I was literally on the keto diet. So, totally opposite. So, maybe somebody listening can relate to this, but I was literally eating eggs, meat, cheese, no carbs, not just the total keto diet. And I was doing some baking at home. And my wife's friend asked me if I would make her a vegan cake. And I said, of course I will. I'm always up for a challenge. So I made her a cake. She's like, it was the best cake. I did a lot of research. First of all, I had no idea what vegan was. I didn't know. I've heard the word. I knew somebody that was vegan when I was 13, and they're like, we eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and vegetables. Like, that was my idea of vegan. I had no clue at all. And so when I made her the cake, I had to do some research, egg replacement, I still didn't know really what it was, but I made this cake and we became friends. And one day she just shared a story on Facebook, and I thought it was about animal agriculture, but it was actually about a dairy farm. And I remember the video. I remember watching it at 6 a.m. in the morning. I remember I could not look away. And I just said, what is going on? And I do not want to be a part of this. Like, I had no idea what was going on in the world to the animals. There's such a disconnect of what we're eating, the animals behind it, the whole thing. And I went, I went, I thought it was about me. I went vegetarian that day. And like 2 days later, I found out it was about a dairy farm, and I went vegan. I didn't think about it. I didn't question it. I said, I literally cannot be involved in what is going on out there. I just can't unsee what I saw. And it wasn't even a really bad video, but it literally just spoke to my heart, and I was ready to just see that. And then I started making vegan cakes and cupcakes and going down this rabbit hole of aquafaba. And what an aquafaba, for anybody that's listening, is juice from chickpeas. You take a can of chickpeas and you strain the juice, and it literally reacts as egg whites. And so I've been in food my entire life. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I came home and I told my wife, I was like, I'm going vegan. I can't, like, I can't unsee like what is going on. And I was like, I'm gonna make you this cheese sauce. I was on the internet. I was like, these vegans know what they're talking about. I'm gonna make this cheese sauce. I'm gonna make you mac and cheese. It's gonna be so good. We're not gonna miss out on a single thing. And it was potatoes, carrots, onions, and some seasonings. And I made it. It was not cheese sauce. It was really, really bad. And I was like, what is this? This is not, no. Like, I'm not gonna not be vegan, but also like this is not cheese. Like, and that was kind of the first thing of me being like, okay, because I'm vegan does not mean I'm going to miss out on anything. I'm going to use my culinary knowledge, and I'm going to start creating things that taste like what I didn't go vegan because I didn't like the taste of meat, or I didn't like the taste of cheese, or I didn't like any of those things. I did it because I woke up and saw what was going on in the world, to the animals, to these living beings that want to live, that we're literally torturing in these factory farms. And so that's like kind of where it all started subconsciously, right? It's like, I want to create these things that taste like I want them to taste, but also are matching my heart. And so fast forward, I went down the rabbit hole of aquafaba, and for some reason, I made a vegan Snickers. I posted it on a vegan page. The vegan community went wild. I started selling candy bars out of the back of my car during the pandemic. And now I currently have 10 veganized candy bars. We're in Canada, the UK, across the US. We're not in any big retail stores yet, but we're on our way. But we're in lots of small retail stores, and we ship nationwide. So all of that from one little video at 6 a.m. that I
It's
couldn't get out of
incredible.
my. And because I am obsessive and I'm like, I don't want to miss out on things because I'm vegan, and I don't want anyone else to either.
Yeah. So when do you remember what year you went vegan?
2019. August 2019. I didn't know it was like a big thing. I just kind of do things, but I know it was August 2019.
So 6 years, 7 years. Yeah,
Oh,
7 years coming on 8, right?
wait a minute.
Coming on 7.
Almost 7.
I can't do math. It's too late in the day.
It's
Well,
okay.
either way, like, to see the speed at which you went from watching that video and connecting with the individual on the screen to where you're at now, creating a bar that decreases the demand for what you were seeing on screen. Like, I'm sure you at the time probably had no idea.
None.
That would have had such a big impact on you that you would go out into the world and create something to make the world a better place.
None. I had no idea.
That's why I wanted to bring you on here, because we talk about activism. We usually meet with activists around the world that are fighting for animal rights and animal recognition and trying to make the world a better place. And I think it's so cool that in not even 7 years, you've been able to create a whole company and I no doubt employ other people, other vegans. And I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but not every, probably not even half your customers identify as vegan, right? I would assume.
No, no, not at all. They just walk in, and I mean, some are, some aren't. Some are dairy free, gluten free, have allergies, and they get a. The coolest thing is when they walk in and they're like, there's a lot of cool things. There's really cool when somebody walks in and they're like, "Do you have anything vegan?" And I'm like, "Everything is vegan." And then it's just like a kid in a literal candy store, right? Or they walk in and they're like, "Do you have anything dairy free?" I'm like, "Everything is dairy free," And so just being able to just have that is really cool.
So I'm curious. I mean, I know a little bit of the backstory since I talked to you off air, but like selling candy bars out of your trunk during COVID, how difficult was that? And then like, have you experienced any struggles along the way, or did you just have this idea to make candy bars and it was super easy and now you're just candy bar queen? Like, I, I imagine there were some areas along the story there that helped you grow through difficult experiences, no doubt.
So selling so when I posted the first Snickers on the vegan page, literally they went wild because there was not there was there's Go-Go Max Snickers, and I honestly haven't tried them, but the community went wild, and I was like, I'll deliver them all to your houses. It was the worst idea ever. I literally did. I literally delivered to like 60 houses in one day. I was late. I downloaded this app and it gave me like this map. First of all, I had to like coordinate the whole thing. Then it was horrible. So I said I will never do that again. And I have so much respect for delivery drivers that I'm just like, you guys, it is not an easy job. It is hard. So then I just started doing meetups at random places. So like across the valley, I had like 6. And every Saturday, people would put their order in, and I would make these orders. At my house, I set off the fire alarm so many times at my house. My wife is like, it just came to a point that it just happened. I killed the dishwasher. I killed the stove because people were buying so many of these candy bars. I would meet up at in these parking lots, and we would all stand 6 feet away. The next person would come up and get their candy bars. It kind of got us through COVID in Salt Lake City. It gave us something to look forward to, every week. Well, I was making candy bars. I had a sous chef job, full-time job. And I was also making, cakes and pies and whatever. And we have cats. We have cats at my house. And we probably had 6 cats at my house. And every time I would go cook, I would clean the kitchen and sanitize and everything. Well, somebody found a hair in their pie, like my worst thing that I ever wanted. And they messaged me, and I told Lori, I said, well, I need to find a commissary kitchen now, just so I can make it out of, a commercial kitchen. So I found this commercial kitchen, and we went to go meet the owner of it. And he's like, well, how much time do you need? And I said, well, I need access whenever I want. And he's like, okay, that's $1,000 a month. And Lori looks at me and she says, "You don't need full-time." And I said, "Yeah, because I'm going to be doing this before work, after work. I need to be able to just come and go as I can." So I signed the lease on this little commissary kitchen, and I told the guy, "I don't think I'll ever quit my job. I'm just going to do this on the side," right? Like, I have an easy cush job. It's a good job, whatever. I just need a clean place to make all my candy bars and vegan treats so I can feed everybody. 4 days later, I quit my job.
Damn, 4 days. That's awesome.
4 days later. 4 days later, I quit my job, and I just jumped. I just jumped. I said either it will work or it won't, and if it doesn't work, I'll get a job at a vegan place, because my current job was not vegan, so that was also hard. And I quit my job, and after that, I made candy in the commissary kitchen, and then I opened up a little bakery in the front, and then I opened up a huge restaurant. Each time I've moved to 3 locations, but it's hard. The business is hard. It's hard to get enough sales. It's hard to pay the bills, because you see non-vegan places that are busy, right? And when you're all vegan, it's like, how many vegans are in the city to come to your establishment? So your question was like, what were the hard parts? The hard parts are like staying true to your values, knowing what you're doing is making a difference. I'm saving so many animals. My activism is quietly, because I'm doing these things and I cater so many non-vegan events, and I only make vegan food. So how many animals do I get to save because I just fed 100 people vegan food, right? But the hard part is staying in business, getting enough sales to pay the bills. There are months that I shouldn't have made it, literally. And I reached out to my vegan community and I said, "Hey, you guys, I need you to show up this week because I've got rent due and I do not have the money in my bank." And the vegan community shows up and supports. And the hardest part is staying afloat, paying the bills. Honestly,
Yeah.
the love is there, the passion is there, but sometimes the sales aren't there.
Well, I think you've made some fast decisions along the way, like going vegan the day you saw the video, quitting your job 4 days in. And I know you just recently made a pretty big business decision, and I'm curious to get like the real-time update now, but if I'm at liberty to say, you're focusing more on Breakfree and less on the brick-and-mortar restaurant that I was so lucky to get to go try last year.
Yes. So after I opened the large restaurant, the rent at that building was $15,332 a month. And every year it goes up. I did it for 2.5 years. And I told the owner, I said, I wish you could have gone because it was so beautiful. It was the coolest vegan spot, but it was just too hard. So the owner sold that building and I moved to my new location, which you guys were able to come to. And I had a quick service hot food station there. So people could come in, we'd make their hot food, but it would just be in to-go boxes. And a couple months ago, my front of the house person was moving out of state. And I have a mentor. I talk with him a lot. And he gives me advice, and he's a very business savvy, and he would tell me he actually tried to invest in my business when I didn't even have a brick and mortar. So we've been together that long. And he says, he has lots of businesses, and he says, when I changed focus from this business to this business, because I was currently putting 80% of my time in Sweet Hazel, 20% of my time in Breakfree candy. And he says he had the same thing and he swapped. So he swapped 20% to 80%. So my friend of the house person moved out of state. And I have that, dialogue in my head. If I focus more on Breakfree and less on Sweet Hazel, how much more can I grow Breakfree? So 2 months ago, I decided to close down the hot kitchen at Sweet Hazel, only have pre-made food. So we have tons of food. The vegan community, we still have lots of food to eat. Breakfast burritos, the McKays, I can still warm that up because that's a classic. So we have our staples in our grab and go, and now I'm focusing, my main focus is on Breakfree candy, to get Breakfree candy more out into the world and into more hands and more places, because I feel like on a bigger scale, I can save that many more animals and change that many more minds, or open up the door to that many more people if I focus on the candy. And Sweet Hazel can stay for Salt Lake.
Yeah. So if you happen to be rolling through Salt Lake City, or even on a layover or something else, go swing by Sweet Hazel. I remember the McKays. It reminded me, I mean, in like the best way possible, after being vegetarian I guess you could vegetarian for 3 years and then vegan for 20. So it's been at least 23 years since I've had, I believe, like a McDonald's cheeseburger, right? Like that's basically what it's.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in a positive way, it brought me back. Not so much, I'm sure it's higher quality than McDonald's, but like same flavors, textures, like idea of the concept of the food, just with no animal suffering. So that'll always have like a sweet spot in my heart. But I also think, like your business partner friend suggested, that Breakfree can go nationwide, worldwide. It can go very big. And I'll even put this out here. Like, Fee's been awesome. She's been including our podcast cards in with the orders. So like my thing is, like, maybe you're not vegan, or maybe you're like kind of vegan, and then you listen to the podcast and then you realize, the same way that Fee realized watching that video, that like we need to take care of animals. Like, it's just a really awesome way that we can all work together to shape the world and create the world that we want to live in.
Yeah. Yeah. We love including all those cards. And hopefully people hop on the podcast,
Well, now they'll get to hear your story. So yeah, what else would you like to share? Maybe what does the future look like? I would love to talk about that. Like, I like to speak things into existence. Are we working on getting more bars? I know you created the minis. We've done some fun social media campaigns about smaller is better, but what's on the horizon for Breakfree? And also, Alex, please jump in at any time. I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Oh yeah. Gosh, Alex, sorry.
Okay. I'm just listening. No, you're all good. I'm excited to hear about the future.
I have a couple new items that I want to roll out. I'm test working a Butterfinger. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
God.
I'm so excited for that.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
I will help test samples.
Yeah.
Same.
So I really want every single candy bar to be in a mini. I love the minis. I just think that I wish they were all. The hard part is people don't realize, like, every single product, you have to create the recipe, you have to get that like perfect, and then you have to create the packaging, and then you have to get a UPC code for, like, there's just like so many different layers for every new product if you want to take it mainstream and into retail stores. So it's not just creating a product, there's just like so many other layers that you don't think about, right? You don't think about, as a candy maker, and I'm like, oh, I want to get into big stores. Oh, here, this goes back to a problem, right? I found a package person. We got the packaging together, and then I put it in a box, like a 12-piece candy box, like you would see in a grocery store. Had a UPC code on it. It has to have, like, all grocery stores have this one website where all the UPCs are connected. So I did all that, and then I fast forward, a broker contacted me. I sent the candy bars to him in the box, and you know what he said? Your boxes are too tall. I'm like, what do you mean my boxes are too tall? They're in a box. They have a UPC. Like, what more do you want from me? But in a candy retail space, you only have, this much space on the shelf. So there's just so many different things that you don't realize, especially like I'm the maker of the candy, but I've had to learn a lot of other things along the way. So so we've shortened our boxes to better fit into candy shelves, into retail spaces. My goal is to be in big stores. I want to be able, as a vegan, when we are on a road trip, we don't get it just to walk in a gas station. What do we get at the gas station? What can we grab?
Bananas, apples, and like one protein bar and like Coke or soda and like energy drinks.
Yeah, or like a couple fruity candies, like, that we just don't have that, right? I want to be able to be so accessible that people can just walk in and be able to grab a better than theirs, because like that is my dream, to be able to be accessible to everyone, and then for people to choose our candy bar over the other ones. That's the future of Breakfree.
Yeah, literally making a vegan world. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just being like, how great will it be when we can walk into the gas station and get a candy bar like everyone else?
I'm excited.
I am excited because it's not been my world for the last 20 years. So
No.
to be able to see that in my lifetime alone would be, for me, really cool. Like, just to the vegans in 20 years, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's hard to be vegan." I'm like, "You didn't know. You didn't know like the dark truth."
Wow. Thanks for paving the way, John. Like,
Wow.
I honestly think about that, because I think about people that have been vegan for so long, and like the options that they had, and like how strong that they stayed, because their head and their heart matched, and they saw those living beings, and they're like, I do not want to be a part of eating these, killing these, torturing these living beings that want to live.
Totally.
I will say thank you for recognizing that for me. Whenever I do like a public get together, I always have everybody like, raise your hand if you're vegan. Raise your hand if you've been vegan more than 5 years, more than 10, more than 15, more than 20. And whoever's the longest, I have everybody clap for them, because I'm like, you paved the way for us all to be here. And I think, yes, I've been vegan for 20 years. I'm so glad I identify as a vegan activist now. And I encourage anyone listening, if you don't think that you're an activist, but you're vegan, I think for the same reasons you went vegan is the same reason you should become an activist, and to speak about it, or to wear it, or to show it, or to share it, because how else are we going to create this vegan world? The first 16 years or so, Fee, like that I was vegan, I didn't tell people. I didn't want to have to defend myself or get in conversations, or I think really a part of me just didn't believe I could change anything. And so I kept it alone. And I view it almost like if I was gay, just staying in the closet, so I don't have to have those conversations or have it be out there for the world to see. And funny enough, though, once I made that switch into activism, I found my people. I found things like this podcast, people like Alex, people like you. And so I'm really grateful to be here right now. I feel like I'm in full alignment with everything and spending my time with the right people. And yeah, I'm just excited for the future that you're literally helping to build. So thank you for all that you do as well.
That is really cool, John. I did not know that. That's really cool. And I feel like that happens a lot. Like, I am that annoying person. So I'm the annoying person. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I went to a food show once, and I took another vegan with me. And at every booth, I'm like, is that vegan? Do you have anything vegan? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just that person. Um, but I just, how you said that, I get it. get how people wouldn't want to, you know, they kind of stay quiet in the background because they don't. I'll be honest, when people are like, you know, the things people say, you know, plants have feelings, where do you get your protein, all the things, right? I'm not very articulate with my words. So my activism comes from creating this candy bar to get people, you know, open up the door. Like I'm a quiet activist is what I would kind of call myself. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with this. But anyways, thanks for doing what you do.
Well, I think we all have our parts to play, right? Like, not everybody has to get the head tattoo or be a bodybuilder. And I think there's so many stereotypes to break right now that vegan candy can taste good, vegans can be fit, vegans can build muscle, vegans can be healthy. Like, all those stereotypes that people like to pull on. Like, we all have our part. Everybody's a little bit different. I will say, I think when I was in my, I don't want this to be too much about me, but like those 16 years or so that I was vegan, but not really telling people, I think that was like my coping or defense mechanism. I think being the only vegan I knew for like over a decade was so isolating and so hard that I just covered up a part of who I was because I didn't know anybody else is the same way. And I think that a lot of vegans get stuck in that. I've had this conversation with a lot of people. They've been vegan 10 plus years. They don't wear shirts. They don't have it in their Instagram. Like, they don't put it out there. And so, of course, they're going through this thinking the same things that many other people think, but thinking that they're alone in that. And I think that's the hardest part. So
Finding that community.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think we all kind of like, the activism we choose is maybe the activism that we wish we had for us. And like for you, you don't want to miss out on anything. You don't want anybody to feel like they're going to miss out. You want everybody to be taken care of. So you're making these things that no one else in the world is making. And that's your way. And for me, it's finding all these friends that I feel like I've missed out on in the last almost 2 decades. And so now it's come full circle, and I'm really, really grateful to be around it.
I want to tell you something really quick, Alex, because I've met other vegans that have been vegan as long as John in my community, like personally, and they would, I don't know, but they would, like, we have a little UARC community here. It's called Utah Animal Rights Coalition. And you know what they would do? Hang up things on poles. Like, that's how they would advertise and get their community.
That's
And
awesome.
I just think about that. I don't, it's just really, thanks for paving the way and staying strong and staying vegan, you know, like.
Yeah. And thank you for
Until
joining the Animal Rights Coalition too. And also a little bit of a different topic, but I was also thinking about this, like when we visited Sweet Hazel, I feel like it was such an inclusive place. You're very inclusive in just who you are as a person. Like, there was a lot of advocation for the LGBTQ community, and just, of course, for animals being vegan. And I also know that you employ people who are out of prison as well, so giving them jobs. So just a very inclusive place. And I feel like you're standing up against oppression in so many different ways through your food and your restaurant, just by being yourself. So thank you for doing all of that and being who you are as well.
Yes, for anyone who's listening, my I don't know if it's my motto. What is it called? But
mantra. Oh yeah, whatever.
For the animals and inclusive for the humans. So that means everyone, right? So I am 100% vegan for the animals. Like, that is like that's what vegan is, right? Vegan for the animals.
Totally.
And inclusive for the humans. And that means whoever you are, as you are. My biggest goals for Breakfree Candy is to help to employ the most marginalized communities, the queer community, people that out of prison, people with backgrounds, because if we don't think the world can change, then we might as well stop being vegan. Right?
True. And we're just going to go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and like, if we don't do anything actively to change anything, the world's gonna stay the same. It's just gonna be the same
Exactly.
oppressive place. You know, people who are in those marginalized communities won't be able to get jobs, or just won't be able to make a living for themselves, and will continue just repeating the same cycle because they won't have the support that's necessary for them. So, yeah, exactly. Like, we have to do something to change whatever form of oppression we're changing. Like, veganism is such a great start because you really just advocate for everyone being as a vegan, you advocate for justice for everybody, like, of course, justice for animals, but I think it just has a lot of different intersectionalities between people who work in slaughterhouses, the communities that slaughterhouses, the animal agriculture industry affects, the way it affects the planet, the way it affects people's health. I feel like being vegan also really helps you connect to other beings and the planet more, and helps you care and just be a more compassionate and conscious person who's very aware of the planet and the future and everything. So just by being vegan, you're already being an advocate for all of those things.
Yeah, thank you. It's true. I feel like everything you just said, like I just being vegan just opens up so much and just gives you so
Definitely.
much more passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I have like a random question, and then we'll probably finish up here. Has coming off this really emotional note. Back to the, because I'm always thinking like I think business a lot, and I think some people are like, oh, he's just thinking about money, but I'm also thinking like, how do we scale? How do we grow? How do we make the biggest impact? Because actually, I want to say one other thing that's more on that emotional, touchy side. I remember the last time that we saw each other in person, and you pulled me aside at the end, and like we started talking, and I always ask the business owners like, how are things? How is business? Because it's like my pulse check. Like we were driving around the country, staying in Airbnbs, checking out every vegan restaurant we could, and the last year has been hard on businesses, and I know that you had said things that had been hard at that time, and now we've seen the future grow and see how Breakfree's growing, and Sweet Hazel's taken a bit on the back burner. But I do remember when I walked out of Sweet Hazel that day, the door was just plastered and covered with different fundraisers and charities and animal related fundraisers for animals that needed food, or like rescue animals that needed money, like, and I just saw how you were personally struggling a bit at the time with finances with these businesses, making sure all of your people were paid, and still promoting and pushing, hey, donate here, hey, help these people need help, these people need help, these animals need help. And I was just like, there's something about Fee that really stands out, and it's just it's like you could have been asking for yourself, but you were still asking people to take the money that they had that they could have been spending there to go take care of these animals. And I was like, I hope we stay in touch, because this is the type of people I want to be around. And so I'm glad we're here now. And
Me too.
I'm so proud of who you've chosen to be, and how you're shaping the world. I was just curious. I think that at the time, maybe this was in the initial production, I don't know, I could be completely wrong. This is a sidebar, it has nothing to do with what I was just saying. But with the bars, and if this is trade secret, I don't need to know either, but do you make them, I think at the time you were making them by hand, is that still the case, or do you have a machine that does this, or
We
how does
make
that work?
we make them by hand. So we do have a machine that wraps them, and we have a
Okay.
machine that cuts them. But
Okay.
we make the nugget, we make the caramel, we put it in trays. It's like a whole step process, and then we put them on the machine that helps cut them, and then we put them, the machine covers them in chocolate. But yeah, they're literally made by hand. So if you guys ever order our candy bars and they're like a little imperfect, it's because we're humans behind it, literal humans making this candy bar, and sometimes they're not perfect, and sometimes, like, the imperfect ones, I do a little misfit bag, but sometimes imperfect ones get in, like, they have imperfections. They're definitely handmade by us with love. Like, our candy bars are literally made with love. Everybody there has so much love that they put into them. Like, it truly is like a labor of love. Like, we all love what we're doing, and yeah, still by hand.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
I love that.
I wouldn't say imperfections. I would say it's like this one has an extra peanut, yay, or this one's a little more gooey. Like I love the caramel. Like
character,
yeah,
individual
Yes.
bar character, yeah.
a little bit of fun because like even though it's got the same wrapper on the outside, you might get a slightly different bite that time, and it's almost more of like I guess like my mom doesn't make candy bars, but she makes cakes, and each one's a little bit different. And it's kind of like that. Like it's the same flavor, same size, but like a little bit different each time.
Yep,
Like just
yep,
a little. And it's like, what
yeah,
am I gonna get? So
yeah. Because food
all
is
right.
living, a living. It was a living plant or whatever. So, sometimes maybe, it's all changed a little bit. Plus, the caramel is you got to get it just right. That thermometer.
Can only imagine.
We know nothing.
We know, I have no idea.
I'll
Maybe you could show us one day.
yeah.
Well,
I do. I actually
I'm sure there's. Oh, sorry. Oh, you go.
No, go. We might have had the same thought. So.
Well, I'm sure there's people listening, vegan or not, that are interested in, the best dairy-free, gluten-free, egg-free, vegan, if you will, candy bars on the planet. The website for that's breakfreecandy.com. Yes.
Yep.
All right, that makes sense logically, and I know that we created the code Vegan Squad. So if you want to get an extra 4-pack added to your order, throw that code on there, and you'll let Fee know that we did our job to send some people her way. But really, sincerely, you know what? You guys can call me out. I do this with brands that I trust and brands that I back. And if you order from Breakfree and you don't love your order, DM me. Send me a photo of your candy bar with a sad face, and I will Venmo you whatever you paid for your order. Like I'm that serious. I do not think there's a single crazy person out there that would take me up on that offer. But if you do, we'll have a phone call. If you tell me you didn't like it, I'll Venmo your money back because I've loved everything I've tried. Some things I do love more than the others. I like is it cosmic? Is that the
cosmic brownie?
The cosmic brownie. No, what's the version of the Milky Way? I'm getting them.
Oh, the space bar.
Cosmic space. The space bar and the better than theirs are my two favorites. Like I go back and forth in the bag between those two.
Okay.
Alex, which one do you like?
I forget what it's called right now, but it's the pretzel and chocolate one.
The chillax.
Yes. Chillax. Yeah. That one's probably my favorite. And then the better than theirs. That one always hits. I did have another question on being an activist. Do you have any advice for people who are either newly vegan or are thinking of becoming an activist or thinking of doing something to help make the world more vegan? Do you have any advice for them with starting their journey or continuing?
I would say I feel like this for everything is try to find your local vegan community to be a part of it so you don't feel alone like John did when he first started. Because usually I think almost every single city has a Facebook group, vegan SLC, vegan, where just go on there and then see if you want to go in to do like physical activism and go to there's what are the ones that they take the TV square?
Anonymous for the voiceless.
Thank you. Yeah. There's lot just I think that if you're a vegan and you want to start into activism, find your local community because I feel like feeling part of it makes you feel not alone, easier to do, connects you to like-minded people. You're all doing it together. Like being able to, be a part of something, find those groups, find those activism groups, usually most cities have a veg fest. Find out when that veg fest is. And at that veg fest, there's going to be booths. If you want to, your city, I'm sure, has local sanctuaries that you can go and help volunteer and feed the animals that have been saved from these slaughterhouses or from horrible conditions, you know, you can go there. And if you're thinking about going vegan, find your why, like that connect with the animals, you know, that animal wanted to live, you know, and that hamburger that took you less than 5 minutes to eat is not worth that animal's entire living life. Like it's the connection. You just have to find that connection. That's what it was for me. I'm not saying like that's for everybody, but I just feel like that's, you know, that glass of milk was not worth that mother having her child ripped away from her time and time again. Because I feel like a lot of times cheese and milk are people's kind of hang up. But honestly, like when I found out what was going on dairy farms, I am a woman, and imagining having a child taken forcefully impregnated and then having a child taken away from me over and over and over again just because they're an animal does not make their feelings any different. Like a mother loves their baby no matter what. And so finding your why and letting your head connect with your heart is like the step that I think if you're really thinking about it, you know, just it's really sad like what happens. Like I could cry, you know, and I haven't watched any of the bad videos. I just know like just imagining and just seeing those cows and those baby cows just, and the moms cry. They cry for days. Those moms cry for their baby cows their babies every for days, you know. Anyways, yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, that's why we work so hard.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And I like your tip about the community. I think that's the first time we've heard that on the podcast. So appreciate that. We ask this question to every activist that we bring on, and yeah, typically it's like focusing on your mindset and finding activities to help you, you know, de-stress or certain specific things to help with like activism directly. But I think you're the first person to talk about community, which again, like is so important. So, and thank you for throwing out that there is Facebook communities in every city. I'm going to throw out that we do have an online vegan squad community, and you can see a map where there's people around all over the United States and around the world. So we're still growing that, but you can come meet other vegans there as well. But yeah, definitely find your people in person. And thank you also for connecting to your story and, you know, helping people connect with their why. I think that's the strongest part or the most important part of someone's vegan journey, because that's what's going to make you stick with it, even if there's no options, or even if you're the only vegan around, or whatever the barrier, quote unquote, is. It's always comes back to your why, and it just make it as unshakable as possible. I think the animals is the easiest way to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like Alex said, just kind of summarize, we only have very experienced activists on here. Like we had Gary Yourofsky, who's done like 20 plus years of activism, and we've learned from every activist. And I think that was the reason that we set out to make this podcast, was to learn about activism and make it more accessible for everyone. And I think we've been hitting like high level points of activism, like different ways, like Alex was saying, like Cliff Grant, I love his, like when he speaks to people in person, it's not, his goal isn't to make them go vegan. It's if they're at a 1 on the 1 to 10 scale, to get them to a 2. If they're at a 4, get them to a 5. If they're 9, get them to 10. Gary said that he wished he could go back and redo all of his speeches and ask people to become activists instead of asking them to become vegan. And I'm like, okay, so we're learning from other people's mistakes. This is still a new, and other people's learning lessons. This is a new arena, activism. I feel like, you know, we haven't done this for hundreds of years. And your tip here is one that literally every single person listening to this can take. And had I had that tip and I listened to you 20 years ago, I would probably be 10 times the activist that I am now, because I would have had these other people around me teaching me the ropes and showing me the way and showing me that while I might be different for what I believe is most definitely not wrong, and that it's okay to be different, especially if you're doing the right thing. And so I think you've just shared, especially, when this goes out to your audience and not all of your people that enjoy these bars are vegan, this might give them a second chance to look a little bit deeper and to understand why someone would do something as extreme as going vegan. So thank you, Fee. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Fee.
Thank you for your
Always.
candy and for making the world
Yes.
a sweeter place.
That was such a bad joke.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Well, we'll put all of your contact info below, so if people want to reach out, they can find you. And Alex has one more thing to say.
Oh no, I was just gonna tell Fee, you said make the world a sweeter place. But yeah, definitely check out these links. Use Vegan Squad code to get a free box of 4 candy bars. I'm very excited for y'all to try it. Let us know how you like it. We'll have all the Instagram links below, so you can DM us or just comment on the posts. But yeah, thanks, Fee. Appreciate you. You rock. Thank you for making the world a better place.
Thanks. See you.
Thank you for tuning in to another phenomenal episode of the Vegan Squad Pod. I hope that you're feeling inspired to pursue activism in your own way. That was our goal when we set out to launch this podcast. We want to help inspire other vegans to find their voices. But that's not all we do. We also have the Vegan Squad coaching team, where we help people find their way to veganism, and we help vegans get even more fit. This, for me, is another form of activism. The more that we can elevate the lives of the vegans that work with us, the more the rest of the world will see us living our best lives and be a little bit curious. Additionally, every single one of the coaches on the Vegan Squad coaching team is 100% vegan. So you know that by supporting us, you are literally supporting other vegans. Exclusive for listeners of this podcast. If you'd like to work with us and hop on a free call, click the link below. One of our expert coaches will reach out and help you elevate on your fitness journey. If anything that you learned today on this episode was useful to you, please share it with a friend, and we'll see you next week.